Hello and welcome back. This video is actually going to be a response to a video that Gear Test Outdoors put out. So I wanted to make a video to walk through the system that I use. Now, the Gear Test Outdoors video is all about pack liners. And if you're not already aware about what pack liner is, in the backpacking, moreover the through hiking community, a pack liner is a waterproof layer that is intended to keep your clothing and equipment dry inside your backpack. Despite the fact that we have DCF or Dyneema composite fabric bags or X-Pack, which is what this is, or even other bags that maybe use a different type of polymer or silicone coating. Also, despite the fact that there are different ways to add water repellency to your gear, so through a Gear-Aid product or a Nikwax gear proof like this, unless it seems sealed, it still can allow water to ingress into the bag and wet out your clothing or your sleeping bag or whatever equipment else you have. And that's obviously not good. So I think pack liner's popularity is primarily based around two factors. One, the weight, and two, the simplicity. It's simply a liner that goes inside your bag, so it's like a big bag in a bag. You stuff all your clothing and equipment, whatever you have, you scrunch the top, fold it over, give it a twist, and then close your bag down, and you're done. What it doesn't do is allow for really much compression. It relies actually on the bag itself to provide any compression or how sort of forcibly you pack the bag. You can arguably get things like sleeping bags and clothing to fit perhaps tighter around the crevices of different equipment, but I think you can achieve a very similar result with another solution while also getting a few benefits. And that, to me, is this. So these are the Sea to Summit lightweight dry sacks. They're available in a number of different sizes and colors. I have gone with like a color-coded approach. So black is for clothing and equipment. Red is for safety, although they do actually make a specific view version, which has a window like this that has the nice sort of crosshatch on it for dedicated first aid kit. I did not know that when I bought this one, and so I sort of ended up building my first aid kits around just the red colorway. I don't think the window really provides much benefit, but I will admit it would have been nice to have that that first aid marking on it, so that if somebody was assisting me with my own equipment, they would be able to identify it quite quickly. Blue for me is anything for water, and I'll circle back to that in a minute. And green is for food. So this is a 2-liter. It's a view version, so I can sort of see the contents of what's inside, and this is what I pack my lunches in. One benefit that I'll jump to right now is that they are very odor resistant. I'm not gonna call them odor proof. And so if you have odorous foods, so think, banana peel or apple core or something like that. When I'm doing any day hiking, I'm not leaving a trail of odor that might attract, say, some animal to follow me. Or similarly, I can go with a much larger alternative. So this is a Ursack. I believe this is the major. I don't think it says it on it. Nope, but I believe it's the major. And on the inside, I have a big 13-liter version. So if you are hiking and you're doing any overnight, this will reduce odor transmission outside of the bag. I still use odor-proof bags inside of here for things like coffee grounds, because that'll cause everything else inside to kind of stink up, and they're very odor producing. So I'm trying to reduce my odor signature in the backcountry, so I'm not attracting animals to come and investigate what it is. It's also waterproof. It's a waterproof bag, so all of your food stays dry. Again, I know a lot of people are using DCF bags, but one thing about these, not only with the odor resistance, but their shape, they have a sort of oval bottom. That lines up really nicely with the Ursack's oval bottom. To the best of my knowledge, they were not designed to be used in combination with each other per se, but boy oh boy do they fit really well. So when you load this out and you cinch it down, that is a gosh darn good fit, if you ask me. So that is for food. So reducing on odor and providing waterproof in terms of food storage. That Ursac's actually coated in the Nick Wax Gearproof to help with its water repellency. Again, day bag, reducing signature there. But one other thing that it's good for is actually keeping air out. And allow me for a moment to explain what that is. So, as most of you are probably familiar with, if you have something puffy, like a puffy jacket or a sleeping bag, this is a 4-liter dry sack, okay? And this is a down blanket. I can take this down blanket and pack it away into this 4-liter dry sack. Now, when I get to this point, you're probably wondering, okay, what do you do here? Well, my technique personally, when I'm packing in the field, I'll line up the 2 margins, the 2 edges, and I'll use my body weight, and I can compress air out of it. You can probably hear the air escaping, and actually if I put it near the microphone, that's air coming back inside. So I'll squeeze it down one more time. Yeah, let me stand up to do it. There you go. So that is that blanket in a 4-liter bag. So I mentioned there's a few benefits. So if I'm camping and I break down my tent and I have all my sort of gear, but it's actively raining, which this happened to me just this last year, I can take all of my modules, I can just lay them out on the ground. It doesn't matter if it's pouring rain, because I can just give this a quick wipe off and I can go straight and putting it in my backpack. So my backpack keeps, excess water out. It keeps the backpack from saturating, assuming it's using like a DCF or an X-Pack, some sort of waterproof material. But everything inside is protected. One other thing I do is if I'm out in my day pack or if I'm ski touring, I can take my puffy jacket and I can put it in one of these. So if I fall into a creek, if I get caught in some unexpected rain, any number of situations, my pack rolls down a hill and ends up in the lake, the things that I'm depending on, like my puffy jacket or my warm clothes or dry clothes to keep me dry and warm, stay dry. And to me, that's more valuable than the minimal weight. Sea to Summit has all their weights posted on their website, so I encourage you to go check it out there if you're interested. So as I mentioned, it's heavier than pack liners, but Sea to Summit also makes a ultralight version. It's a Sil nylon. This is their lightweight, and then I believe it's called the ultra lightweight. I actually prefer the heavier lightweight ones because they use more durable fabrics. This is a 70D face fabric. I have no problem setting this down in the dirt, having them sort of rub up next to each other. I think this is going to be very durable, have a lot of longevity from a product perspective. So if you like the idea of this modular system, but you want to get the most lightweight version possible, then there is another option there for you. One last thing to consider, they are a waterproof fabric, which means it keeps things dry on the inside, but it works both ways. So you can actually keep wet things from causing your other gear to get wet. So this one, for example, blue, as I mentioned, is for wet, or for water per se. And in here, I have a couple of ultralight towels and swim trunks. So if I am going for a hike and I know that I'm going to go swimming in a lake, say, and my swim trunks are going to be soaking wet and I know there's not going to be enough time for me to dry it out, I might wring them out to get the most water out. Maybe I use the towel, now the towel's soaking wet, and I don't want to get the rest of my items wet. Or, I could always throw it on the outside of the pack, but if I'm just going out for the day using my day bag, then I can put the wet items inside of this bag and it will keep everything else dry. So it works both ways. Something else to consider would be if you have a raincoat. So maybe it was pouring rain and you got you got caught in the rain, etc. Now your raincoat has a bunch of water on it, and then it dries up, and you thought, oh, okay, I'm just gonna get to camp and I can hang it up on the line or hang it up on a tree. Well, you can put your raincoat in one of these bags as well. Again, wet object on the inside of the bag keeps everything dry. And lastly, just from a packing module use perspective, you can throw your raincoats. So here's my jacket and my pants. I can throw that in a dedicated bag, and I can throw that just in my day pack. So that way, even if I'm going out and it's a beautiful sunny day and I'm not expecting rain, but I end up encountering it, I have something that the whole purpose in this configuration would just be to use as a packing module. It keeps it together. You can do the same trick, squeeze the residual air out that you don't need, give it a few rolls, bulk it up together. You can see just how much we're able to suck that in. So I don't think that's really adding much weight for the benefits that this gives you, from packing modules to keeping your other gear dry to keeping itself dry to using it in a compression form. I think there's a lot of benefits to using this. As you can see, I have it in a number of different sizes, shapes, and colors for different purposes. But that's for me. That's what works for me. So if you found this at all beneficial, comment down below. I'd love to hear back from you. Until then, I just want to thank you for tuning in, and hopefully this helps you figure out what system is going to be best for you. So thanks very much. You take care. Bye for now.